I still remember my first time going to the gym. I wanted to get bigger arms and of course I knew I had to do a standard bicep curl to get it. But suddenly I saw other people doing all types of curls and I was left out confused. Now you've got the hammer curl, the bicep curl where you rotate your wrist, and then you've got the standard bicep curl where you don't rotate your wrist at all. Now in this video I'm going to mainly talk about the last one and the hammer curl, but I will also explain why I'm in most cases not a fan of the other one, but why this could be beneficial for you in some cases. Now which of these two actually builds bigger biceps, and should we do both of them? Now I'm going to give you an answer to that last question right away. You're going to want to do both the hammer curl and the standard bicep curl where you don't rotate your wrist, and I'm going to explain to you why in just a second. Now before we start with the video, please remember to smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm so someone else can find this video, and make sure to subscribe for more helpful tips. Now when it comes to the biceps, we have to take a look at the anatomy to really understand what each exercise does and why this is important. Because you see, you have the biceps brachii with the long head and the short head of the bicep, but along with it we also got the brachialis. And this is important because we're going to target different parts of our bicep with different exercises. And because of that, it's also crucial to note that the brachialis mostly helps with building a thicker bicep when viewed from the front. The long head creates a bigger bicep peak and the short head gives a more long thick look when viewed from the side. Anatomically speaking, we would have more brachialis activation with a neutral grip and more biceps brachii activation with a supinated grip. And that's what we did sort of find with this one study, which confirmed it with muscle activation. However, this study didn't really look at the exercises and instead used a machine that didn't allow subjects to move their arm. But it's definitely reassuring that both science and anatomy point in the same direction. I still want to note that during those both exercises, all the muscles will still be working together, but some parts are just working a little harder than others in different variations. So now that we know what muscles are targeted by each exercise, we can now decide which part of the muscle will help us get bigger biceps, but in this case it definitely depends. The hammer curl will also give you bigger biceps but a more thick look. And I also want to note that you will also train your forearms a bit more, so this is a small detail you might want to look at. And when you use a standard curl like this, you're going to get a more overall bigger appearance when you flex your bicep and when you view it from the side. So now it's time for you to take a look at your biceps and what you want to achieve with these exercises. And if I had to answer that question, which builds bigger biceps, it's going to be the standard bicep curl. And that's because they allow you to mostly target the biggest part of your biceps. But hold on, don't click away just yet, because I have some important advice for you. Generally speaking, you want to use best of both worlds. And that means that if you're able to do both exercises and you have the time to do so, you're well best off doing both. If you don't have the time to do so, you want to use something called periodization. And this basically means that for a couple of weeks you're going to do hammer curls, and after that you're going to switch to the other variation, and so on. This will allow you to recruit as much different muscle fibers as possible, because doing one movement for a while is going to lead to less results. Now something I also want to note is that using a cross-body hammer curl, where you simply curl the dumbbell to the middle of your body instead of just straight up, is going to probably allow you to target your brachialis a bit more. Now as to why I don't like the bicep curl where you start with a neutral grip and end with a supinated grip, it's because one of the functions of the long head is going to be supinating your arm. So instead of targeting both heads of the biceps equally, you're going to favor your long head slightly a bit more. It's a small difference, but in the long term this can lead to some imbalances. But I did say that in some cases this might be a good exercise, because sometimes this part of your bicep might just be exactly what's lagging, and in that case you can switch to this exercise, but I would say there are better alternatives. And if you want to see those alternatives and want to learn how to target each part of your bicep separately, I highly recommend that you watch this video, and I will put a link to it in the description to learn more. Smash that like button if you found this short video helpful, and make sure to subscribe for more helpful tips, and I'll see you guys later.